everyone, welcome back to my garden. This is Jenny at Garden of Jenny, and I am in a 6B 7A here in Southeastern Massachusetts. And today I wanted to go through my cottage garden tour in the month of June, and I am ready to show you what beautiful plants I have in the garden this year and what is getting ready to bloom, what has already bloomed, and yeah, let's get to it. We'll start here in the beginning of the cottage border, and we'll start with these beautiful delphiniums that are blooming profusely, that return every year from me, and they are a beautiful shade of purple. They're super tall, about 6 feet tall. I'm about 5'10", so my height. And then we have some feverfew and some penstemon. I think that's Midnight Masquerade. And down here I have a geranium that I got at Costco's that is absolutely beautiful. It's pretty tall, and I love how serrated the leaves are, as well as this beautiful sweet purple flower that it puts out. And right above that, it is intertwining with my Calypso Easy Elegance Rose that I love so much. Look at how beautiful and how many petals these roses have. And they open to this sweet pink that later fades into somewhat of a white flower. In between all of these plants, I have other things intertwined. There's some phlox here. There is cone flowers getting ready to bloom. And then underneath, I also have some heucheras that are huge. Every year I separate them and they get bigger and bigger, and I have them scattered all around the cottage garden for repetition. There is also some feverfew here, and this one, I don't know what color variety this is. I know it's like a yellow. I don't know if it's called Sunny Days, but I love it so much. And it's right next to one of the first lilies that open. And this is Salome, I believe. Something like that. But it is a beautiful pale pink flower. I have some daisies getting ready to blossom, as well as the yarrow. And there is more geraniums. I have different varieties of geraniums scattered throughout the cottage garden, and I just placed an order. I'll link below of special order online site where you can order a bunch of rare geraniums. And as you can see, the cone flowers are getting ready to open up, as well as different kind of lilies that I have scattered around. Last month, I went to the Brockton garden sale, and I ended up getting some rose campion because I believed that I no longer had rose campion in my yard, in my cottage garden, but I was very happy to find out that it actually bloomed elsewhere, and I will show you in a bit where it did bloom and self-seed itself in my garden, which I'm very happy that it did. Since it is a biennial, it seemed that it did not show up last year in flower, but this year it sure did. And moving along, I also have the Calypso Rose scattered along the cottage garden border, just like the heuchera. So as you can see there, it is starting to open up and blossom. And at this focal point right here, the foxgloves are fading out now, but they were absolutely magnificent. I'll be also adding footage of when they were in full bloom, and they're just fading out. They're at the very tip, and I have a blend here of Exceller and Dalmatian Pink, a whole bunch of different ones scattered around the whole cottage garden, and I'm very happy to announce that I have been successful with foxgloves finally. It took a couple years, but now I feel like they say once you have foxgloves, you'll never get rid of them, and I can care less because I love foxgloves so much. Their foliage is big and attractive, And then they have these beautiful blooms here. Let me get a close-up. Look at how beautiful. Just absolutely stunning. And right in back of there, I have a rose, and it is a climbing single-petaled yellow rose that I'm eager to see bloom, as well as some different kind of lilies that are very beautiful that are getting ready to bloom as well. There's a heuchera at the bottom. And there are some poppies that I added into these pots down here that got choked out by the heucheras, but they have some California poppies in them and some corn poppies, as well as some stalk that you see that is getting ready to bloom. And next to it, I have some balloon flowers, cone flowers mixed in. Something that surprised me this year was a Sweet William. I have grown Sweet William for many years and I've never seen it succeed in my garden. But again, it is a biennial, so it just took some time to establish. And this year I have Sweet William popping up everywhere and I love them so much. They're so pretty. They come in white blooms, purples, fuchsias, all kinds. And I had lupine blooming. And these are the seed pods that are left over. And I had a bunch of different kind of lupine popping up in the garden this year. I love the foliage and it's putting its seed pods that I'm gonna let self-seed. And next to that, I have some daisies as well as, I think, a pincushion flower. And in back of that, I have a lilac that I think I'm going to remove this year. It's been 3 years since my lilac has bloomed. I just think that this is a shaded area and it's getting choked out by everything else that's in there. I have some more delphinium that is getting ready to bloom, as well as phlox, more lilies. And here I have a rose of Sharon that's variegated, some coneflowers, as well as a rose that's not getting much sun, but it is blooming, and it's called The Pilgrim by David Austin. The nine bark is covered in blooms, and I love this deep dark foliage with these little creamy white flowers that are covered in pollinators and all kinds of insects. And it's next to my little garden statue, and it's also hugging my little lime hydrangea, which is also massive, and they complement each other so well. I have some tiger lilies that are getting ready to bloom. And this is kind of my spirea side of the cottage garden. So this is double play Uzi, and look at how beautiful the blooms are. So gorgeous. And I had to actually prop up these spireas because they got massive and they were choking out my lupines. I don't know what this plant is right there, but it is a ground cover, and I have some straw flower as well as coneflower everywhere. And next to this is my rose campion that I thought that was a goner, and it reseeded itself in the front of the cottage border, and it's so beautiful, full bloom, and it got massive. And it's next to some daisies, some gay feather liatris, and this is a yellow tree rose that I have that is past bloom. In back of there, I have false sunflowers, candy corn spirea that's also blooming, and clematis, and a lot of lilies. Here, I have a pincushion flower that I think is starting to go over. And then I have some false sunflower, and then next to that, I have popping up in the garden for the first time is some mullein, which is putting a yellow spike up, which is beautiful, but I'm ready to actually take this down because I don't want it to reseed in the garden. But that's where we are with that. Some candy corn spirea in the back. Looking gorgeous. And I love how it contrasts with the green foliage around it with this chartreuse yellow. And I have a Pinky Winky Prime in the back, as well as some daisies. Here I have some Midnight Masquerade, and I also have some iris, Siberian iris that is over. And I have some marigolds that I grew last year that I wanted to grow. This is key lime, as well as an arborvitae, whipcord arborvitae that is gorgeous. And I have some reseeded, I forget what this is called, but I will put the name below. I'm very happy with that. And I have a David Austin Gertrugical that is past bloom, and it was absolutely glorious. As well as some phlox here. And then I have my pink avalanche hydrangea that is soon to come. The hydrangeas are working their way to blooming, and it is massive this year. This is a beautiful rose that I don't know the ID of. I think it's Picasso maybe or something like that, but it is gorgeous. It has these variegated pink and white stroked flowers. Underneath I have Euphoria Ascot Gold, and it is looking gorgeous in bloom. They have these little cute little blooms that look like little eyes. I have some more of that geranium and catmint. And the clematis is over, but this is what's left of the Josephine clematis. It's super cute, a double. As well as the poppy is finishing up. Some more daisies. And then here I have a Rambler rose. I'm not sure what it is, but it is absolutely gorgeous. It's from Easy Elegance. It's so hot pink that it's hard for the colors and vibrant to be picked up by the camera. And it is just massive with these massive sprays of roses. Super cute. And I gave it a big haircut this year, and it came back massive. And underneath it are some phlox, as well as some heuchera and a little sweet dainty coreopsis there. And if we look further up, I have a climbing rose that I don't know what it is, but it is absolutely massive, and it complements so well with this rose here. They almost look like they are the same rose, but they're not. This one is a little bit more deeper in color, but it also is forming big sprays, and it's a one-time bloomer, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes I get a second bloom. I have a hydrangea in the middle of there, and Dahlia Marlene that is getting bigger in the middle there. And there was some liatris here that my dogs trampled over. There's more poppies that are getting ready to bloom. So this is what this area looks like here. There's so much things. It looks crammed in, but I guess that's a cottage garden effect. And I think I'm achieving that finally. This is year probably 4 that I feel like the garden has really kicked up and gotten itself together. Here I have a Skepto de Isle David Austin rose, and it has gone over in blooms, but there's one more spray. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love this rose. It's massive. It does make a little bit of a mess underneath, and the petals turn white as they age, but it's nonetheless a beauty, as well as some sweet pea that is blooming. I think this is high scent. And I have a arborvitae, as well as some zinnia Persian carpet, as you can see right there. I have some coleus and some foxgloves for next year. Now let's go through my shed garden that I've been working on for a couple of years, and I want to show you what is blooming and what is going on with this garden that has been a work in progress. And as you can see, this hydrangea is starting to put out its buds, and this is Fire Fit Fab. And something that I filled out this year is that I had chives, which did great in here, but I added poppies in here, and it's more of a shaded area, and they needed some support, as well as these planters got too dry with so much plants in them. Next year, I don't think I'm doing that combo. Here is another Fire Fit Fab. And as you can see, this one definitely has some blooms that are starting to appear. I have another Ascot Gold Euphorbia there. Next to that, I have some Montag daisies that are forming a big shrub this year. I cut it way back and it has doubled in size actually. I have a false cypress there, and on top of that I have a smoke bush that is doing wonderful, getting huge, and it did blossom. And it has these sprays this year. And then this was a spirea that is a cascading spirea. It didn't put too much blooms this year, these white blooms, but it did get massive, which I'm sure next year it'll really give me a show. And if we keep going, I have some phlox, early evolution hydrangea that is putting out its blooms. And it's next to a coneflower and a David Austin. This one is Charles Darwin, and I can't wait to see that bloom. The Japanese Pyrus bloomed beautifully this year. And I have my oak leaf hydrangea that took a massive hit this winter, but it is doing well. And I have some heucheras down here, some feverfew. The iris were absolutely gorgeous, and I will show you guys some of the iris that were in the garden. But yeah, I have some daisies, some peonies. This is like where I throw a lot of plants that I don't have a space for in the rest of my garden. I don't know what to do with them, but they get in here. This spirea is not doing hot. So we're in the back of the property where I have some shade gardens, and we'll start here. I'm working on a chicken coop garden, as you can hear the chickens in the background, but here I have some daylilies that I transplanted from other parts of my garden. And I have some hostas, some lemon verbena, and I have another honeysuckle there. My shade garden, Empress Wu, is doing wonderful. I have a hydrangea here, a stilbe. I have some hostas. It's looking pretty dry here. It hasn't rained in a bit. I have some foxglove, as well as some small shrub roses that are doing great, and another spirea that cascades. So beautiful. Closer look at the butter burr actually. It is a gorgeous, striking plant, and it is definitely true what they say about it. It will take over an area, and when I got it at my local plant sale, they said the first year it doesn't do anything. The second year you'll see a presence, and the third year she's ready to take over, and that's what she's doing on her third year. I have cut this back so that I'm able to still see the water feature, and it was choking out my clematis and as well as my little lime punch, so I had to cut her down a little bit, and she's still in the way. Like, I should cut that leaf here to give the hydrangea and the clematis some space, but the clematis I think is called Mr. President, and it is gorgeous. It has lasted quite some time, which I really love that. There's heucheras and foxglove and hostas in here. Let's tour the balcony garden, and there's a lot of stuff up here. I'll try to be quick, but I have some cool stuff up here. My balcony, I have a Fairy Tale Bride hydrangea, and this baby was blooming non-stop, and I just gave it a haircut, and it is starting to put out new stems, which I'm hoping will rebloom, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I got it at Home Depot, and I interplanted it with some nasturtium. A pot with some strawberries, sending out runners, and bok choy. Look at the bok choy flower. Super cute. I just let it get to seed. And there's some alyssum. Here I have some tiger violas that I grew from seed. And on this rack I have a chocolate, a chocolate scented geranium. It does smell very different than the ones that are more ornamental, which is cool. I got this from a local garden sale. And this is one of my favorite plants in the whole world. She is called a Withlacoochee begonia. It's an indoor or terrarium plant, but every year during late spring, she thrives indoors, she thrives outdoors, but she's very temperamental. If I have her inside the house for too many months, she starts getting chaotic and dropping all her leaves. And then that's usually at the end of spring. So she screams to come outside in the summer and she starts to get huge again. This one has more bok choy, rosemary. This is a euphorbia, I believe. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful garden tour. It is the end of June almost, and I'm very thankful for all the things that are growing, all the things that I have put into and that are blooming beautifully now. And I just can't wait to see how the garden continues to develop over time and enjoying the garden little by little. I know it's been a while that I haven't been on here. I've been very busy in my personal life and I'm just trying to keep up and record. I will be a little bit more frequent. I've been very busy with the animals and I have a new video coming out soon to show you all what has been going on with all the animals that I've been raising and whatnot. But the garden is doing amazing, and I will also be posting up some videos on my dahlia garden and my vegetable garden that there are a lot of news there. But yeah, stay tuned. Please make sure to like and subscribe to support my channel and to see more of my beautiful content. And thank you. I hope all of you are having a blessed summer, and until the next video, bye everyone.